Hello friends, my name is Evel, electrotechnical engineer, master's degree in electrotechnical engineering, as well as been working for about 15 years now in the industry of information technology. Usually we deal with big servers, mainframes, all of that kind of stuff. And I've been working mostly in mid-management. But more importantly, I've also been a spiritual practitioner for the last 24 years. Yeah, I started in 1996 with my spiritual experiences. And also, I've been investigating and basically researching and learning everything and anything that I could find in the spiritual realms. So this unique combination of a pretty strong scientific and I would say logic background with the spiritual fields, I think has given me a pretty unique perspective on what is going on around us. Yeah. Now, of course, these experiences have allowed me to have some very practical tools to improve my life, to improve everything around me. And I believe the time has come right for me to go relatively public with my findings and share this with other people around me so they can benefit as well. You can say that some of these can be considered spiritual superpowers. Hey, yeah. So why now? Why have I decided after all these years to share this video with you, to go, so to speak, public, even though it's a little bit tricky, yeah? 20 years ago, when internet first came out, it was like a gold mine to me. These vast amounts of information suddenly were available on my hand. I remember first time I spoke about the internet to a friend of mine. He said, that's amazing, it's like having the world, all of human knowledge on the tips of your hand. And I was 3 or 4 years investigating the spiritual worlds at that moment when I first also became connected to the internet. And I had imagined that 10, 20 years from then, which means the time that we live in now, humanity would have a lot more information discovered because of the internet. However, I have to say, quite sad to see the reality on the internet today, especially when it comes down to the spiritual topics and areas. There are a lot of, I would say, spiritual leaders online that used to be quite knowledgeable in the past, and they gained quite a lot of following. I don't want to name any names, but if you have been around these areas, you probably know these people. Yeah. And they've lost their way, especially now in 2020. It seems like it seems like there is no end to the fantasy, to the out of touch, out of reality things that they will say, and quite honestly, their fantasies are starting to endanger other people's lives. Even YouTube, the video where you're watching, the platform where you're watching for this video, they've had to start deleting some of the videos of these people because, quite frankly, some of the things they tell to people that they should do are dangerous, and it really saddens me. It's I consider it a signal that maybe some of us, people like me, who have been studying this their whole lives, who have had real experiences, mystical experiences, maybe we should speak up. Maybe we should start sharing our knowledge as well, because the leaders in these fields, they are failing. On the other spectrum, you have people who say very nice things. They say you don't have to do anything, you just have to relax, meditate a few hours a day, and everything will be somehow magically fine. This is, I'm afraid, also not the case. And I would like, again, to offer my perspective, to see to tell you where it's coming from, to give you some practical tools that you can use in your own life, in your own spiritual life, to gain some of these spiritual superpowers. I'm joking, yeah? Of course, there's nothing really super about them. We all have them. People have been using them since the beginning of humanity. It's just through the ages they have been forgotten. Yeah. This won't be one of those fast 5-minute videos, 5 superpowers in 5 minutes. Yeah. It's gonna take quite some time. So you might want to relax, get some coffee. Yeah. And join me on this small journey where I show you, together with my friend the White Rabbit, how deep that rabbit hole goes. Now I know what you might be thinking. Who is this Russian guy from Eastern European country with this strong accent telling me our spiritual leaders are failing and I don't know what, and yeah. So, first of all, I'm not a Russian. Yeah. I was born in Macedonia about 40 years ago. Macedonia, the land of Alexander the Great. You might have heard about the guy, great guy. Defeated Darius III, the big battle of Gaugamela, and conquered Babylon of all cities. One of my favorite cities for many reasons I'll tell you later. And founder of the Library of Alexandria. He was a great warrior, still is. So yeah, I mean, I will be sharing some of my so-called mystical experiences to tell you how I got to that level first, because you need to understand where I'm coming from. If I tell you just what I believe, it means nothing. I need to show you the progression of how I got to that level, and quite frankly, maybe you will recognize that the experiences that I've been having, maybe you've been having something similar. And of my previous knowledge with people that I've spoken to, many times they have the very similar experience without even knowing what it is, and then just a small push in the right direction, it helps them a lot. I want to be very clear, I will not try to sell you anything. I'm obviously not doing this for money or anything like that. I have a really nice career when it comes down to computers. Computers always been my passion, so I don't need to sell you CDs on meditation or any of that stuff. So just relax and join the ride. So when I was a kid, I used to believe in God and the higher powers when I was very little, maybe 2-3 years old. Somehow along the way, as I delved deeper into science, I realized that it has a lot more answers to my life, to the life around me, than the local priest at the church or my grandmother, who was a very strong believer. So I went really deep into science. I especially love physics. In primary school, I won several prizes in competitions in physics, informatics, IT technology, and I was just ingesting everything. Astronomy, yeah, I completely loved reading about space, black holes, Stephen Hawking's book I read when I was 15, things like that. I don't mean to brag about it, but I'm just telling you that I am the least probable person you would expect to then shift into 25 years of spiritual theory and spiritual practices. I was like these small science kids that you see on science fair, like playing with their stuff and just everything has to be proven and all of that stuff. You could say I really had a gift for physics. But reality started to show itself. When I entered puberty around 15 or 16, maybe I was 17, I don't know, but it went for a year or two. I would fall asleep, usually in the living room, watching TV, and then, like half an hour later, I would wake up. But here's the scary part. I would wake up, still look at the TV, still look the room around me, but I could not move. I was completely paralyzed. So if you haven't experienced something like that, it's called sleep paralysis. The doctors have a name for it. It's a well-known symptom, condition. Many people have it. But of course, the theory behind it is a little bit lagging why it happens. So I would completely freak out. I'm like, what is going on? I cannot move. I would try to scream. You cannot scream, you cannot breathe. And after that, I would open my eyes and I would say, my God, what was this horrible, horrible nightmare? I don't want to do that ever again. This went for a year or two, yeah. Then one day, a friend of mine came and he knew that I was really into all kinds of science and all of this stuff. Back then I even had a CD called Unexplained with some theories about ghosts and things like that. I didn't believe any of that, to be honest. It was just something interesting that I found, and I just wanted as much knowledge as possible. And he asks me, do you know what is astral projection? And I'm like, I don't know. I know astrology, I know astronomy, so probably it has to do something with the planets, something with the stars. Astral, it means stars. So I opened this CD called Unexplained. My God, I will never forget this image. It intrigued me greatly. So astral projection, there was this image of a person lying down and another etheric body levitating from it. And the description was that you can project yourself into this body and somehow travel through space. I was like, my God, really? This cannot be true. But I kept an open mind. I said, who knows? Yeah. My favorite show was Star Trek back then. I say, maybe I can be like Picard one day. I'll visit the universe, visit space, and all of that. Quite soon after that, maybe it was 1 or 2 weeks later, this friend, after seeing this, he told me that he had a friend back when he was in the army, who was a real master in astral projection. And chance would have it, I would meet this guy many years later, but that story I will reach for it later. And we went to see another friend. Keep in mind, this was 90s on the Balkans, so no internet, no good libraries, no knowledge, nothing, yeah, just a couple of people who heard something somewhere. So I meet this guy, and he has a book on astral projection. Wow, I say, maybe I give it a try. So I read this book. It has some techniques on how to perform astral projection. So at that time I was normally going to school at 7 o'clock in the morning. I would wake up, 7 o'clock in the morning, and during the afternoon I would get a nap for 2 or 3 hours. For some reason this proved to be really beneficial for astral projections. When you wake up early, then you go to sleep around the afternoon, and then at night you go to sleep again. So this somehow a little bit, I don't know how to say it kind of loosens up the astral body, and it helps a lot. So anyway, this first day, the very first day when I read about this projection stuff, I said, okay, so I'll give it a try. Let me try one of these techniques. So in the afternoon I go to sleep, I wake up and I try this technique. And my God, it worked. And after that I realized I had not waken up normally. I had waken up inside my astral body. So the moment I started trying this technique to move, my head, and I mean my astral head, popped out of my real head. I found myself like half a meter in front of the bed in the dark. And the feeling, if you have not had it, it was something like taking your head out of the water. Yeah, it's the same, very same. You could feel the separation, and suddenly I was at two places. My head was in the astral, and my physical head was behind me. So normally this immediately woke me up. I was shaken beyond belief, and a great phase of my life began at that very day. I still remember it up to its minute minute that day. Keep in mind, before this I was a science kid. I didn't believe in anything. I said it's not realistic, spirits, ghosts, all of that stuff. It's not proven by science, nothing. This one experience changed everything. I was in shock for 1 week. Every time I would see a person on TV, I would see a person on the street, I could not think about anything else but just thinking, my God, everybody has a spirit, everybody has a soul. So I couldn't wait to tell everybody. I went to the school and told all my friends, and well, not a good idea. I even told my grandmother and my grandfather, not a good idea. So everybody was very afraid. They took it as a joke, nobody believed it. So I said, you know what, I will never ever speak about this thing in public. Until now. Why now? I think things have changed. You turn on the TV, cable TV, you find many channels that that have all of these mystical, I would say, theories, mystical concepts. So I think people are right now much more accepting. Even 10 years ago, when I wrote my first book, unfortunately I had to do it anonymously. I was afraid to put my name on it, because I was like, my God, what will people say at work and so on. But now things have finally changed. I think there is this opening in people's consciousness about these levels. And I think it's time for people like me, people like you, some of you, to start speaking up, to start sharing these experiences, so we can really put back people's consciousness in the right direction, away from all these conspiracy, dangerous theories, something real, something science-based, something positive, something where we can all grow together and better ourselves together. We need new leaders in these fields. The old ones, as I said, unfortunately, they are failing us right now. So we need new blood, so to speak. So now, as I said, it's a time that maybe I start sharing all of these experiences publicly and see where it takes me. At the very least, this remains in the cloud for future generations to be found. YouTube, it's something amazing what humanity has created. So first, first Astral Projection happened, and it was the start of something wonderful. Now, before I go to share my practical tools and kind of a framework that you can use to get your own experiences, to get your own journey into these realms a lot better, I want to share some more on how I progressed further, so again you can compare with where you have been. So yeah, year is 1998. Let's have some coffee. Get your own. So year is 1999. Keep in mind I'm stuck on a Balkan village in the Macedonian plains. My parents were working in the fields, agriculture, so very little knowledge I can find around me. No internet, no nothing. So suddenly, a guy like me, in his teens, I was not even 18 yet, maybe I was fresh 18, something like that. So completely out of the blue, I discovered this spiritual world around me. So where do you go for answers? Well, first answer, you can think about spirituality, religion. I had this Bible lying around because there was this game I played during primary school where I would do these small logical stuff like some games. You send a letter, they send you another one for 10 rounds, and it was some missionary circle of Christians, and as a prize, they send you a new Bible. Say, hey! So yeah, my parents were not believers, we didn't have Bible, we don't have any kind of spiritual book at all in our house. There were just some books as what they say, as decoration, like really books for decoration that nobody ever read. They were just there to occupy the shelves. So of course, spirituality, where do you go for answers? You take the first spiritual book, the most famous book of all, the Bible. So I read the Bible, beginning to end. I try to find out what is going on. Yeah, I have a soul, wow, so this means maybe Jesus was right. So I went and I read a lot, the Bible, the New Testament, the Old Testament. At the same time, I was having my astral experiences, I was progressing, and I kept meeting a lot of people, I would say, or beings in those astral realms. I was having dreams. Something interesting was happening in these astral trips. They would come, they would teach me stuff, how to do stuff. One of the first things that I was taught, three sisters came. They were around 30 age old, and they were quite happy to see somebody green like me, and they wanted to help me. Yeah? So the lessons they learned me, it was telekinesis in astral and in the dreams. They showed me how to move stuff just with using my mind. Met a couple of times the character of Superman. Yeah, I was a big fan of Superman, so he was teaching me how to fly. And of course, if you know how it works, Superman is a fictional character, but it was probably some other being that I projected the image of Superman on him. So we flied around, yeah, we had some fun. Then something funny happened. Well, it was not funny actually, it was the opposite of funny. Something disturbing happened, to be honest. I met a group of 10 people, 10 relatively old people, and I knew them. I didn't know how, I didn't know why, but I knew them. I knew who they are. And we met, of all places, at the bottom of the pyramids. They were around the pyramids, and for some reason there was water around the pyramids. Only later I heard that the Nile sometimes gets a flood, and there can be found some water around the pyramids, once in 100 years or something. And they told me things about me, things I'm not quite ready to share yet to publicly. Yeah. So let's just say it was not compatible with what I was learning from the Bible. It was just not compatible. Yeah, what they were saying was not agreeing with the scriptures of Christianity. It was quite the opposite. You can say it was a bit of maybe contradictory. So I said, "Wow, this I definitely didn't expect," but I took it on the back burner. I said, "Okay, well, I'll just analyze it later. I'll just take it as we go along." But it was clear I had known these people. Yeah, deep in my soul, I felt that I have been with them in the past, probably past lives. So then I won a scholarship for a university. So I moved to Czech Republic. As you might imagine, and as I already said, I was very gifted when it comes down to science. I kept winning competitions on Macedonian level for information technology, astronomy. Got the first prize there out of all Macedonia. It was awesome. I really had a blast. So I'm really scientifically a rational guy. Believe me, I'm the last person you would have expected to go into these spiritual fields. But I'm also very observant. If something from the observable reality tells me things are working a certain way, of course, that's the scientific method, the experimental method. First you observe, then you propose a hypothesis, and then you construct the theory out of it, and if it's repeatable by other people, that's how scientific theories are formed. And today we are still at that phase of observance. For many of these spiritual manifestations of these elements, of these, I would say, experiences, we know they work, but we don't have the theory yet. And don't let be confused by some quantum stuff and I don't know. Long story short, nobody yet knows what is the theory behind it. If we knew, of course, scientists would be writing many papers on it. We have the experiences, we can observe it, but we don't know yet exactly how it works. So anyway, I win this scholarship, I go to Czech Republic, which is where I am right now, and there I discover also the religion of Islam, the Quran. I read that one as well. Yes, you might imagine, not so much different actually from the Bible. Many of the things are the same. In short, the concept is the same. You get born once, it's just one chance. After that you die, you either go to heaven or you go to hell. End of story. God created you and you shouldn't sin and all of that. So at the same time, I was keeping an open mind. I read the Islam, I discussed with a lot of Muslim friends around there, they explained to me their theories. I said, okay, we consider it in my building of the world, how it works. But at the same time, I was also reading Carlos Castaneda, the shamanic ways of how the world works. I do recommend it, it's a great fun read, even though of course you cannot agree with everything that he said. Some of it is of course fiction, but many true concepts there, yeah, so I definitely recommend it. Around this time, however, my father died. Yeah, so it was a tough time for the family and for everybody. As Christianity and Islam would tell you, you would expect that I would find my father on the astral realm, maybe somewhere, hopefully in heaven, or maybe in hell, yeah? But that's not what happened. I kept meeting my father after he passed away in the astral. I didn't have much close relationship with him, to be honest, during the time he was alive. But after he died, he visited me many times and he wanted to express some of the things that he never said to me during life. And he was not in heaven or hell, to be honest. He was actually at home, just in our house, just hanging around our house. We were having some trips. It was basically, and I would find out this later, he was just having all the experiences that he didn't have during his normal life. He was just catching up with all the stuff that he wanted to do but couldn't for many reasons. And the strangest thing happened. I saw him in our own house, but it was not really our house. The bathroom was like 5 times bigger. We don't have too much of a small bathroom, but this one, it was like huge. And I'm like, what was this stupid dream? Like, why did I see this bathroom so huge? 5 or 10 years later, I found out why, just by chance. There was this friend of my father, he was telling me stories of how they used to drink and eat together. And he told me, you know, your father, he had this dream and he kept saying it. I wish I had this huge bedroom with all the stuff, with like a wellness area and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, so there you have it. So small things like this, as I say, you don't need really proof. I don't need somebody on the internet to tell me whether this is real or not. I don't need a scientific theory to tell me if this is real or not. There is nowhere in a million years I could have known that about this dream of his about the bedroom. So it just happened. I just saw it on the astral from his own soul, and it was what he always wanted. And he never told me, that's for sure. He never told me that he wants a big bedroom. So, time for a small sip. How are we doing on time? Whoa. Time is flying fast. We don't want this to be a 3-hour long video, right? So next level in my spiritual development. Religion obviously didn't answer my questions, nowhere even close. Now don't get me wrong, I have nothing against religion or the church, as long as it's not interfering with other people and it's not telling you to do something bad to them. I mean, whatever brings the vibration higher, whatever tells people to be more loving, more accepting, it's good in my book. It's a necessary step in the evolution. So religion, the Judeo-Christian religion, also Islam, it was not answering my questions, and it was not compatible with the reality that I was seeing in my astral projections. And they were proving to be right on many occasions. Like, they could sometimes predict the future, they would sometimes save me from some bad situation. Just the first 2 years I kept a log of this, I call them proofs. I had about 10 or 15 at least, like really irrefutable, at least from my perspective. Like things like, I don't know, I hadn't talked to a friend in 3 years. I would have an astral visitation from him, and he would tell me, hey, I'm going to call you tomorrow. And in 5 hours he would call me. Another one, a cousin, I saw him in the astral, he bragged that he had been promoted. Next day I called him and he's like shocked, how do you know that I've been promoted? Like, you told me yesterday. Yeah, so many experiences like this, more than I can even count. I just stopped counting after that, it was not even interesting anymore. I just focused on other stuff, like going to other planets and stuff like that. So next step, I discovered new age stuff like light and love, the higher self, all of that stuff. And again, it was answering some of my questions, especially I was having more and more astral experiences when it comes down to past lives. I started remembering where I've been prior to this life. That was obviously not compatible with Christianity or Islam. I even met Jesus a few times in the astral. I visited him during the time that I was deeply involved with Christianity. Again, what I saw there, it was not compatible with what is being taught today. So obviously something was not fitting in the puzzle. So I kept exploring, the new age stuff, the light and love stuff, and all of that. Around that time, I also discovered that the extraterrestrial phenomena, UFO and all of that stuff, it's quite connected to the astral realms. These beings, these ships that people see, they have quite a connection to the spiritual realm, to our consciousness, and I found out you can communicate with them actually. So this backed hypothesis that maybe these beings that we meet in the astral, maybe they have the power to manifest themselves in physical reality, and that was something that I strongly considered. I said, okay, so if this is true, then maybe they will show themselves to me if I ask them hard enough. And I kept meeting a lot of these other beings that live on other dimensions, other planets, and so on in my astral travels. And one day I became a little bit sad. I said to one of my friends online, you know, I'm feeling a bit disappointed. These beings, a lot of people have seen them, they've seen their craft, and I'm good friends with them on the astral, we communicate all the time, but why they don't show to me on the sky? I want to see something with my physical eyes. Like, yes, astral, I know it's true, I know it's working, I want to see it here in the sky at night. 1 week later, I had the most amazing UFO sightseeing in my life. Never before and never after I saw something like that ever again. And I cannot say this for sure, but I feel like it was really connected to my wish, to my really big wish to see something like that finally. And I was walking in the middle of the city, of all places. Usually when you hear about sightings like this online, it's in some desert, in some area where nobody else can see them. No, I was walking middle of the city, going back after a team gathering around midnight, and the sky was full of clouds, low altitude clouds. So no moon, no stars, no planes, no nothing. All of a sudden, three triangles, like a boomerang, yeah, like these V-shaped uh, flying objects made of pure light. It was not something metallic, it was not something, I don't know, nothing, just pure light, V-shaped. Appear out of nowhere, fly on top of me, I would say distance maybe 500 to 1000 meters tops distance above me, under the clouds, low altitude clouds, fly, bang to the left, bang to the right, and again disappear right into the clouds or into another dimension. It lasted only for 4 seconds, but man, I tell you, it changed something. It just showed me that, wow, this before, I mean, it's one thing when it's just in your head, literally, well, metaphorically speaking, when you just go to sleep and you see something and you wake up, but it's quite something to see it on the sky. And you can give it a try after I show you some of these techniques, after you have evolved a little bit your abilities. You can try contacting our brothers and sisters on the sky, and maybe they give a show for you again. And I haven't asked them anymore after that time, because I mean it felt silly, like it felt like a huge favor. It's not something very easy for them to do, to arrange for something like that, and I felt like, yeah, we're not going to go there again. So things started developing for me until 2008. Christmas of 2007, it was extraordinary. I went really deeper than ever before with my astral travels. And I found out the truth about Atlantis back then. It was real, it existed. What I can tell you, I think it's publicly available. They had this crystal at the top of their highest building, and with this crystal they could communicate with higher dimensions. And they knew one day in advance at least that they would get destroyed by war and by cataclysms. And it was quite traumatic, yeah, it was quite traumatic. But civilization went on and moved to Babylon, so that is true from that respect. That the survivors of Atlantis populated many places, and some of them Babylon. I'm not quite sure with the others, but I do know that me personally, I was more involved with the migration to Babylon, if you will. So 2008, I felt this great urge to go back to my birthplace. At that time I was working in Czech Republic, Macedonia. Man, it opened a whole new chapter in my life. I found out just how deep the rabbit hole goes. Atlantis, it was just the beginning. After that I discovered where I was before Atlantis. And it opened up some uncomfortable truths. Forget about religion or new age stuff. This stuff that I discovered, it was not compatible with any of my prior knowledge. It was hard, yeah. So at that time I went really maximum engagement into the spiritual. I met this awesome astral master from Macedonia. You've probably maybe heard about the guy. He wrote a lot of books and made a lot of videos, and he was the same guy that I said he was a friend to a friend of mine, his friend who told me about astral projection for the first time. So I consulted a lot about with him. He taught me some other new techniques, helped me quite a lot to go further on my way. At that time I started meditating 3, 4, 5 hours a day, so some really heavy duty meditation, like sit down, no moving for 3, 4, 5 hours every day. The rest of the time I was just browsing the internet, absorbing anything and everything I can find on anything spiritual. I just went full in, all in, yeah, like poker. It was just work to support myself physically and just astral stuff all the time. A lot of interesting things started to happen. First, I cured my insomnia. This meant, before that, I had sometimes trouble falling asleep, trouble just shutting down and going to sleep. My mind kept racing at 100 miles per hour. Thanks to this meditation, I gained a new superpower. I could just fall asleep anywhere, everywhere within 5 minutes. I can still do it now. my wife doesn't understand how I do it. I can be sitting, I can be even standing, no problem. I can fall asleep within 5 minutes. Even if I had slept for 10 hours, no problem. 5 minutes I'm able to fall asleep. Other interesting thing happened. I raised my Kundalini. Kundalini, it is, they call it the serpent, and I understood why when it happened. There is this energy that goes in your spine, and when it's activated, you really feel a flow of energy. Now, before it activated, something funny happened. It was even scary. It was moving like a snake within me. It was just amazing, yeah. And I think it was like those high electricity, high voltage electrical beams. You know, they do this and then they connect. It was just like this. Before it raised completely, it just went this snake pattern and connected to the bottom of my head. And then for the next 1 month, I felt this flow of energy through my spine, day and night. It was just unbelievable. At the same time, it cured my back pain, and just my whole life since then just improved. It improved on so many levels. All the old stuff, old hidden emotions, and some of the baggage that I've been hearing since childhood, all of that got cleared away. So I kept really advancing with light years per month, like I was discovering more and more. And at a certain point, I just felt like I've reached a certain amount where a lot of these pieces fell together, and decided to write a book, because I really felt that I've reached a certain point where others could benefit from it. You can find the book in my description. I wrote it 12 years ago, but it's still actual, and that's, in my personal view, kind of a sign that a lot of what is in that book has been tested by time. Even after all these years, I haven't discovered anything new to contradict what I believed back then, and I haven't discovered any new stuff to cancel that knowledge. So I definitely recommend you read it. It's not quite to the general public level, so you may feel a bit confused by it, but hey, yeah, you can give it a try, because back then, of course, I wrote it mainly for people who were already a bit advanced on this spiritual path. So many things happened after that. I took it a little bit easy. I went back to Czech Republic to go back to the company where I still work right now, IBM, the National Business Machines. I love computers. Yeah, so it's the perfect place for me to be at. And then a few years later, I even went to Peru to get a couple of rituals with a real shaman, one-on-one. Man, enlightenment is expensive, it turns out. It cost me a lot of money for these ayahuasca rituals, but it was an adventure, and to be honest, it was kind of worth it. Yeah. Would I recommend it to somebody? Oof, what I heard here these days, it's like Disneyland. Everybody is offering ayahuasca experiences for a lot of cash. Yeah, who knew that enlightenment was so expensive, right? So yeah, I mean, it didn't offer anything groundbreaking, but it was just a nice exotic trip for 2 weeks. Visited a friend of mine there. It was interesting. If you have the means, definitely go. It will at least enlarge your perception of how things work. Then in 2015, I got another real hard, solid evidence proof that something was really happening right here in my brain. A friend of mine who was also interested a little bit in these things, he's a neuroscience scientist at the local hospital. And they were doing these studies on patients and normal people, patients like with Alzheimer's disease and things like that. And they needed a big sample of normal brains. But, well, turns out I was not a very good sample of a normal brain. So they needed volunteers to go in there, put them into a magnetic resonance machine, you know, big stuff that you see in the hospitals. They put you inside this big tunnel, and a lot of magnets are spinning around you, and they do a 3D image of your brain, and they test the brain, how it works. Before that, you ingest some kind of radiating stuff, I don't know, so they can map the areas of your brain that are being lit and all of that. So I do this exercise, got my brain imaging. They get me to do some small exercises, like first focus mentally on some logical game, and then they ask you to shut down your brain and just don't think of anything. So when we were discussing the results, he said something interesting is happening with your brain. Like you're maybe in the top 1 or top 0.1% of people who are able to shut down their network in the brain. Like he's telling me it's amazing, like here, and you can see it right here on the video, but I'm showing you right now. In the top first you have the areas where it's lit when you're engaged in this logical activity, and then in the bottom it's areas where the brain has went into a standby mode, where you're asked to shut down and just don't think of anything. And he said, you're very good in this, like your brain is able to shut down very efficiently in this standby mode, like very few centers of the brain are activated. And I'm like, yeah, you know what, this is definitely because of my meditation experiences. So it was interesting for me to see that this is not just on some energetic level, but with enough practice, with enough effort, you can do real changes in your brain that the magnetic resonance machine will pick up if you go and be part of those studies. So I feel like science should do more of these studies. Take a bunch of people with strong meditation experience and see what comes out of those imaging. And I think that has happened a lot in the past, but I think we need more. Like people have plugged yogis and people like that and measure their brain waves. So I think we can do more, especially with the advanced technology that we have today. But believe me, I was not born with a brain like that. I told you I had insomnia. When I was thinking, I had huge problems shutting down my brain. It got so bad that I could get a paralysis here in my back. I would spend all night in my bed turning and thinking about everything that could happen and should happen, going 1000 scenarios in my head just all the time. So this it helped me a lot. The meditation stuff really huge help. So give it a try if you can. And then since then, honestly, I haven't been too focused on the astral realms and other planets and all of that. Quite the opposite. I said, now it's time to take all of that spiritual knowledge and put it into some earthly successes. Like I said, I will solidify my career, start a family, get some nice place to live, get a car, you know, simple stuff like that. Get some kids around, yeah, so I can transfer all of that knowledge. And all of that has been quite successful, I have to say. Obviously, I have used my astral abilities, astral superpowers, to help me every step of the way. Yeah, you know, finding a life partner is not easy, so obviously there was huge help there. Getting the right kit assigned to you from the higher powers, not easy as well. So, funny story, I met my daughter when my wife was 3 months pregnant. Yeah. So we were there, and I call it the reincarnation assignment facility. So yeah, I met my future daughter there, and we discussed how it will be. And it got approved that she got reincarnated in the body in our family. So, I know this sounds like science fiction, but believe me, if you spend some time and effort to go into this area, you will definitely have some similar experiences. Now, enough about my story. Now let me show you some of the techniques that you can use to get to that level as well. So part 2. So where do you start? You will need 2 tools to be in perfect, good order in order to access the astral levels. One, your brain. Your brain has to be operating at maximum efficiency, maximum capacity. So rule number 1, get enough sleep. 6 hours is not enough. You need to be getting at least 10. Ideally 10 to 12 hours a day of sleep. I'm not joking. To really be efficient in the astral levels, you need your brain to be half awake. And if your brain is half awake during those astral travels, obviously your 8 hours is not going to be enough. In my height of my astral projecting, obviously now with a small baby, I cannot do that. But I was sleeping like 12, sometimes 14 hours a day. Obviously that was not pure sleep, it was something like a semi-sleep, but the astral experiences that were possible with that, they were just amazing. So the more sleep you can find, the healthier brain you can get, the better it is. And you need a good heart. First thing you will get in the astral projection, the lower levels, these are the rough levels. You find a lot of so-called bad apples there, yeah. So these myths about demons and zombies and gremlins and all of that, they will be in the lowest levels. And the way how to get out of there is to use your heart to focus on loving thoughts to get on a higher vibration. After that, everything changes around you, and you're safe, yeah, safe from that. Also, depends on your DNA. Some of us have birth-given gift to access these levels easier than others. I don't think I was one of them, to be honest. As I said, I was very science-based, so most of my astral stuff I really had to work very hard. But I do know some people, they just are able to access the astral without even going to sleep, like psychics, yeah. And I've had some friends who have very little, with very little effort, they can astrally project. Great for them. I have to say I envy them a little bit, but you work with what you have, right? And sometimes these things run in the family. Then you need to read a little bit about what is the subconscious and the conscious mind. The subconscious mind is the one that you will have to utilize to get you to the first levels of astrally projecting. Because obviously we're going to use most of the techniques during sleep. During sleep your conscious mind is kaput, it's off, it's sleeping. So you need to use your subconscious mind. There are other ways of how to access the astral levels and these amazing superpowers. The other ways is meditating. If you have 5 to 6 to 7 hours a day to spend meditating, go for it. But I know 99% people watching this video, they will be like, are you kidding me? I don't even have 5 minutes. So that's out of the question. Another one is hypnosis. You can find a good hypnotherapist, get yourself hypnotized, and then ask him to astrally project you. I would not recommend it. These guys and girls are expensive. They will ask you for $100–150 per hour. Another thing, I never ever felt comfortable letting another person in my subconscious mind and taking full control, which is what a hypnotist does. I tried to get hypnotized, I just couldn't. There are certain blocks in me which will not allow anybody to take control of my subconscious. So I wouldn't recommend that one. And psychotropic substances, my god, don't even go there. Yeah? Don't even go there. It's like trying to do something with your computer with a fork. Yeah, just poking and just trying to do something by poking the chips there. That's about as useful as psychotropic substances get. You may get some screen flicker based on that, but more likely you will just fry that. You will just fry your brain forever. So don't do that. The best, greatest astral projections that I've had have been when I've been sober and well rested. Yeah. I drink alcohol sometimes, but really, it's no good when it comes down to serious, clear, nice astral projection. So, let's see then how to get there and what are some of these superpowers that you can get. I would say there are 4 gates you need to pass. First one is dreams. Do you remember your dreams? If not, you need to start remembering them. How do you do that? Very simple technique I can teach you right now. Every time you go to sleep, you close your eyes and you keep repeating until you fall asleep. Tonight I will remember my dreams. Tonight I will remember my dreams. Tonight I am remembering my dreams. Tonight I am remembering my dreams. Even better to put it in the present. Tonight I am remembering my dreams. You do this every night. Sooner or later, you will start remembering your dreams. Gate number 2. You need to start writing down those dreams. The moment you wake up, you have to have some kind of a paper, some kind of a journal right next to you. And this is very important. The very moment you wake up, you have to immediately start writing. Otherwise, this part of the brain where the fleeting memory of the dream is stored, very soon after you wake up, it just gets completely overridden by the normal waking state of the brain and you forget everything. It's very frustrating. It has happened to me so many times. Inside the dream, I'm sure I will not forget it, yet 5 minutes after I wake up, it's just, poof, it's gone. You start remembering those dreams. You start writing them down and you start analyzing them. You start reading what have you dreamt about. Writing them down, it's also useful because maybe 1, 2, 3 months later you learn an information which correlates with the dream. For example, if you have a dream about a friend who bought a new car. This friend lives in another continent. Let's say 3 months later you speak to this friend and he tells you that 3 months ago he bought a new car. This way you can go into the journal and find out that you have just had your first astrally oriented information. You've gotten some information that you could not have known to any of the traditional means, by pure astral means. Yeah. Then it starts to get fun. Third gate, okay, so you're remembering your dreams, you're very good with dream remembering. It's time to go lucid dreaming. That's where all the fun begins. Inside the dream, you realize that you are dreaming. Yeah? Again, I'll teach you a very simple technique how to do that. You probably have a cell phone, who doesn't, right? Get yourself an anchor. It's called psychological anchor. So every time you look in your cell phone, you remember to ask yourself, am I dreaming? You do a sanity check. You look around and you say, am I dreaming? Am I dreaming? Every time you look in the cell phone. So what will happen? Next time you are dreaming, your subconscious mind will look even inside the dream in a projection of a cell phone. Once you do that, the part that has been programmed in the brain will ask itself, am I dreaming? And suddenly you will realize, for some reason you do have the ability to realize inside the dream that you're dreaming, and after that you know that you're dreaming. Okay, so now you're inside the dream, you know that you're dreaming. What do you do next? Whoa, anything you want. Anything you want. Yeah, as long as you have these abilities. So I would suggest first techniques that you can learn in the dream: telekinesis, moving stuff with your mind alone. That's actually my test of how to find out if this is a dream. I try to move stuff with my mind. If I succeed, I know it's a dream, even no matter how real it seems. You can try, I don't know, making people do something, like controlling them. These are dream characters, sometimes beings, so be careful. You can try flying. Superman all the way. You can just zoom through those nice, excellent beaches all across everything. You can pass through walls. You can go outside of this planet, visit the moon. You can time travel. You can rewind time. You can visit pyramids if you want to, 3,000 years before. So basically try to shape your dream reality as much as you can. Why is this necessary, playing around with your dreams? Consider it a small playground. Your dreams, they are this localized astral pocket where most of what is happening is projected by you. It's like your own small playground. Yeah, usually most people that astrally project, they just project a couple of meters in front of their bed. They create a small astral realm around them and they have their dreams there, which the mind uses to reorganize itself during night. So play around with it, because the next step that you will be learning, the last gate, is a full-blown astral projection. You need to consciously achieve so-called sleep paralysis. And you can achieve it from a lucid dream, but most of the time it's useful to go directly there. The lucid dreams are just useful to learn the skills, the techniques that you will need once you're in the astral body. It's like learning to drive a bicycle. First you do it somewhere safe, somewhere localized, so then when you're on the real stuff, you can just go and you don't waste too much time learning there. How we will recognize that it's a full-blown astral projection? Those of you that are older remember the sound of a fax machine or a modem. So once you're in that first astral projection, the first thing that you will hear, especially as you try to separate from your body and you start to see the room around you without opening your eyes, you will hear this tone. And let us listen to it right now, just to be on the same page what it is. Yeah, not very, I would say, not very pleasant. Yeah. My theory on this, why this is happening, is for the same information, for the same reason that you hear it on the PC. It's just a lot of vibrational fields all the time being translated into something that the brain can understand, like sound impulses. But rest assured, once you separate from your body and you go 3 or 4 meters next to it, this sound will subsidize, it will be clear, and you will start having your astral projection. At the same time, you will most likely find yourself in the lower astral. The lower astral, it's been called many names. Some people say it's hell, some people say it's darkness, some people say it's lost souls and lost worlds and all of that stuff. I'll give you that. It's dark, it's pretty dark, and you find a lot of beings there, just that nature live there, like goblins and gremlins. That's where all the mythology comes from, yeah. These are not purely inventions of fantasy, it's based on people's experiences. They've seen these beings. I mean, they can be nasty sometimes. They like to play around with beginners. I'm not going to lie to you. They like to mess around with people. It's like a sport to them. It's like us when we sometimes play with animals in the zoo. They play with humans who are very new to astral projection. But it's very easy to move away from there. And that's why I said you have to have a pure heart. You have to have good positive heart and vibrations before you go into the astral. If you don't, you will just end up with a real bad trip. If your vibrations are not pure, if you are really with bad intentions and scare and this paranoia and all this negative stuff and hatred and anger, you will not be able to move from the lower levels, and you will just meet a lot of negative energy that will just get extremely multiplied. Keep in mind, the astral, it just multiplies everything that you're thinking. All your thoughts get multiplied. That's why I said it's very important to get those skills in the lucid dreams, where it's relatively safe, it's relatively just your own mind creating the scenery, before you go to the real deal. If you cannot control your thoughts, well, a lot of bad things can happen in the astral. You may get you may attract some unneeded attention. Let me put it this way. And people ask me, is it dangerous? Of course it is. I mean, everything is dangerous. Passing the street is dangerous. That's why I have to take this step by step. And that's why you definitely shouldn't have any substances that mess with the chemistry of your brain. You end up somewhere in the astral completely unprepared. They will eat you for breakfast. I mean, yeah, just don't do that. Yeah, don't do that. That's how you end up with a schizophrenia. So once you're there, you use your heart to raise your vibration, and suddenly everything will be filled with light, and then you can continue and you can meet other beings. You can discuss with them the meaning of life, the meaning of everything, what it means to be human, what it means to be good, bad, to your heart desire. Yeah, now you're connected to the cosmic internet. So I would say definitely go for it. Know what you're getting into it. Practice first in your lucid dreaming. Unless you have had many lucid dreams where you're able to use telekinesis, you're able to really control your thoughts, you're able to manifest things out of thin air, I wouldn't really recommend going full astral just yet. Because full astral, man, it's scary. First 10 astral projections will completely suck, yeah? You will most likely just wake up just from the fact that you are there. It's a feeling that's completely indescribable, just the sound of it, the noise that you are feeling. Then there are some gremlins around you, some bad souls, like lost souls trying to toy with you. To be honest, the first 1 or 2 years I had many of these bad astral, the first steps in the astral realm. I was usually in this very dark place, gremlins and ghosts chasing me, and until I learned to raise my vibrations. But it was worth it, yeah. It was worth it. And you need to control your thoughts, because the astral realm, it projects everything that you're thinking immediately. So let's say you have this small fear that somebody may be trying to wake you up and they cannot because you're outside of your body. Immediately this whole scene plays out. I had this crazy scene where my mother was trying to wake me up. I was still 17 back then, and she was not able to wake me up. She was screaming because I was in the astral realm. But then I would wake up for real and found out it was all just a fantasy. It was not happening. So it's a lot of trial and error. That's why if you're looking for something that you can learn in a couple of weeks, forget about it. I've been at this for 24 years and I still have a lot to learn. In the last 2 or 3 years alone, keep in mind I've been doing this for 24 years. In the last 2 or 3 years alone, I've discovered new abilities. Yeah, now this newly discovered advanced ability, it's amazing. I can, for example, do simulations of a future event. Let's say I want to do something, and I can just run a simulation in the astral and see what is the probability and what is the best way forward. The moment I'm speaking about this, there was this huge coronavirus epidemic. So I ran some simulations there. I said, okay, how do I keep safe in the next 3 months? And out of 2,500 probable futures, in 2 of them, I was dead. In two possible futures out of 2,500, it ended up with me dying. So yeah, it's an amazing thing. In Astral, you can do simulations of the future, and this helps you then take the right path so you don't end up in a future you don't want to be. It's amazing. It's just amazing the stuff that you're able to do there. But it takes years of practice. It takes years of practice, years of discipline, and it's worth it in the end. Yeah, you get really superpowers compared to anything else. And the relaxation factor is also uncomparable. You do not know how amazing it is to fly and to visit other planets and other places and beautiful worlds until you're there. I would say it's even more real than doing it here. Here, if you want to fly, you have to be on a plane, a very loud plane with a motor and metal and all of that. But over there, you just feel the wind in your face. And the wind is not even a real wind, it's just a simulation from your brain, but still, you get my drift. What else can you do in the astral? Some ideas what to do there. You can ask questions. One of the first things I wanted to know was who I am. It took me years to find out. Everybody I met there, nobody wanted to tell me who I am. They were hiding, they were scared, they were like, we don't want to do that, we don't know, maybe we will mess something up, maybe somebody will be mad. The first time somebody dared to answer me who I am, it was some astral teacher in comparative religion, so to speak. He was a teacher of belief systems. He was the first one who was honest with me and told me who I am. I don't know why, all the secrecy, I guess. Yeah, astral beings, most of them, they don't want to interfere, they don't want to complicate their lives. Humans, they just see us as pretty limited. They don't want to risk it most of the time, at least the good ones. Yeah, they're like, why should we interfere? Who knows? I tell you this information, maybe you were not supposed to know it, maybe somebody will be mad with us for telling you this. If you're not ready to know it yet, why should I tell it to you? And that's the same thing. Many people ask me, okay, so we know who you are here in this life, but where you come from? Where was your previous planet, or what was your past life? And I always give them the simple answer. It's like, go there and find out. It's not rocket science. Astrally project, find me there, and then you tell me what you found. If you are correct, then we can have a discussion. Some can do it, very few can do it, but that's my point. Don't get too focused on who is who, whether some psychic has been somebody famous in a past life, and who is the current incarnation of Moses, of Saint Peter, or I don't know, who is the current incarnation of Mother Teresa. Who cares? Who is the Dalai Lama and stuff like that? Who cares? They're gone, all these famous people from the past. They're dead. They're still alive somewhere on some level, but who cares really? The only thing that matters is who you are. What is your past? Where did you come from? Why did you come from on this planet? What are you supposed to do in the future? What will happen after you die? Where are you going next? It's not a simple question, and it's not a simple answer that fits everybody. You can also access, they call it the Akashic records. So I'm like, wow. So anyway, this is a place in a vibration in the astral where you can basically access any information from the universe. You can just find out. There are no secrets. Yeah, there are no secrets in the universe. Some things are hidden, some things are on high vibration, but for all practical intents and purposes, oh my god, for all these people that are too afraid that somebody will see them do something. Bad news, guys. Everybody knows everything you're doing. You don't even have to be God to know this. Even worse, people living here, they can astrally project, see what you're doing, who you are, what secrets you're hiding. They can go back and use this knowledge to deal with you later. I use this many times. I meet a new person, I meet somebody that I need information whether I should trust them or not. Go visit them in the astral. In the astral, it's like seeing them for what they really are. Takes 2 minutes to find out who they really are. Other really nice superpowers you can get from these fields. Healing. I will admit I haven't had a headache in 14 years. 14 years. And I have not had to take any aspirin or any kind of medication for headache. How is this possible? Simple. Anytime I feel that my body and energy and my head is not doing well, whether I'm extremely tired, whether something is wrong, like physically, or some illness is creeping on me, all I have to do is go lie in my bed, shut down my brain, focus my energy to repair any kind of damage on my energetic body, focus on my chakras, and what do you know? 12 hours later, just healthy. Just all the pain is gone. It's just as new. So really, meditation and all these astral powers, it really gives you some practical, real life tools you can use to extremely improve your life. Other things you can do in the astral, and then later, of course, in the physical body. You can talk to loved ones which have passed away. They can visit you, you can visit them. You can even talk to future loved ones, like I talked to my future daughter, before she was even born. So it opens quite a lot of new possibilities. And I was already telling you about the advanced abilities. Let's see what we have next. How much time we have? My god, it's midnight. Midnight. This is where all the vampires, zombies, spirits come alive. Midnight. Yeah, just joking. They are here all the time. Once you get in the astral, you'll meet them. Not all of them are bad. Some are bad. Some can get attached to you. Some can suck the energy out of you. Spiritual attachments, nasty stuff. Look it up. Ooh. That's why I said don't go in the astral until you're ready. And you will be ready only after you practice in your lucid dreams. So, another things you can do in the astral realms, you can deal with fears or suppressed wishes. Yeah. So let's say you're afraid of something, you can focus on it in the astral realms. You'll see what is the reason behind it. Suppressed wishes. Let's say you want to experience flight, you want to experience what it is to drive a fast car, you want to experience what it is like lying on the beach, having fun. You can do all of that in the astral. Just create your own small astral reality and do that. Yeah, many people do it. Many people do it after they die. Yeah, all of that. And the fun times begin once you start visiting other planets and you talk to other beings. Do not believe them. Many of these beings, don't have a clue what it means to be a human. So whatever advice they give you, it's, it reminds me of celebrities. Celebrities who make tens of millions of dollars a year giving advice to people who are trying to make ends meet. Yeah, people who are really struggling. So these enlightened beings in their spaceships and clouds and higher dimensions, they will tell you how to live your life. You know what? Tell them to, thank them for their opinion and for their advice. Take the board, maybe they have a point, but please do not follow blindly what they tell you. Yeah, and you see all of these saviors running around, spiritual leaders. They get in touch with a couple of these beings and they think oh wow, I am now the chosen one, I am here to bring light because I'm in contact with Ashtar from the fifth dimension and he is this enlightened being who knows everything. Guess what? They don't know everything. Many of them, they have not even had incarnation in human life. They know absolutely nothing about human life. But they do know how to give advice. Yeah, not much changes. Some things never change, no matter in which dimension you go. People like giving advice to people that they see, to beings that they see inferior to their own. As they say in management, listen to everybody, take their input, but make your own decision. Yeah, so that's my general advice about other beings, and all the advice they will be happy to give you. And God forbid, don't ever do something just because somebody out there told you you should do it. Just because they're out there in astral body doesn't mean they're any more enlightened than you, me, or whoever you meet on the street. One other very useful ability, you have the ability to see the hidden intentions of people. And that's where I said at the beginning, we need more people to start using their ability to see the reality, to see the truth. So all these spiritual leaders can stop sharing all this nonsense. If we have more people verifying this information in the astral realms, exposing these people for what they are just lost souls, many of them. I don't doubt their intentions. I don't doubt that they're really trying to help people. I just think they're deluded, yeah? I just think they're deluded. They're on this mission to save the world. Even Superman couldn't save the world in a fictional universe. How is some guy named, I don't know, I don't want to name any names, I don't want to fall to that level. How is he going to save the world through his videos or books? I mean, give me a break. So we need to step away from that. We need to focus more on our own powers, on our own superpowers, grow them, share what we find out in the astral, share what we observe, put it to the scientific method. So then once we have enough objective observations, once we have enough data, we can propose some hypotheses and then construct some scientific theories with hard science that can finally unify these fields. It's not so far from itself, and a lot of ground has been broken here. We have theory of relativity, we have quantum theory. Einstein said many years ago, all mass is energy, everything is energy. This is provable. You can calculate it. This watch, it weighs 200 grams, it has a certain amount of energy, everything is energy. Quantum theory tells us vacuum is not empty, it's full. It's just the quantum fields are close to zero fluctuation, they are balanced out to a zero, that's why you don't see anything. So yeah, I think we need more observation. Every time there was a scientific breakthrough, there was some kind of observation before that. Something was not feeling right. That's what pushed the scientists and developed the theory behind it. Yeah, other abilities. You can see things people are trying to hide from you. One of the biggest problems of today, people cheat on each other. Bad news, guys and girls. If you're cheating on your loved one, once they get a bit of astral power, they will find out. You cannot hide. So you better not misbehave unless you're ready to face the consequences. Don't worry, I will not spy on anybody, yeah? It's not my thing. I'm not interested in human affairs, to be honest. Usually I fly in different planets. More fun there, yeah. So, that's all really that I want to share from the second part, which is some tools that you can use to improve your own powers, your own superpowers. And as I said, I believe that if many of us, enough of us, evolve these powers, I think we can really make a change. The more data we have, the more experiences we share, the more this will become the norm, the more this will become the accepted reality, the more we teach our children to enhance these abilities, to work on these abilities. Again, newer generations will have a different point of view. And again, in time, we may find the theory behind it that helps us produce something meaningful, some kind of technology that will work with our consciousness. And many believe that such technology already exists and that maybe it's hidden from our access. Maybe, who knows? Which brings me, of course, to another point. And let's try to close it on this one. Extraterrestrial visitors. These days, the Pentagon released a video of UFOs. Yeah, Navy pilots. They have seen unidentified flying aircraft flying around, and they had no idea what they are. They even filmed them on video. Now, to be a Navy pilot and be certified to fly with a fighter jet, they teach, they learn their whole life. They learn how to identify flying aircraft. That is very important. That's one of the key skills of a Navy fighter pilot. First and foremost, they need to identify the flying aircraft around them to recognize whether it's a transporter, whether it's a Russian jet, whether it's something hostile, whether it's civilian aircraft. It's like their key skill. So if a Navy pilot tells you they don't know what they saw, that it was something not of ours, as you will see on the video that I will just show you,
troubleshooting as soon as
Did you box moving target?
No, I took an auto track.
Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Wow, look at it fly! What the
Dude, that is a fucking drone, bro.
There's a whole fleet of them, look on the ASA.
My gosh.
They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude. That's not our LNS though, is it? It's not.
That is the LNS, dude.
Well, if there's like...
Look at that thing.
It's rotating.
it comes come from another planet? Did it come from a special secret project? We don't know. We don't know. But we do know there is something happening in the skies for which our modern accepted science does not have the answer. So either somebody is hiding something from us, or somebody out there is hiding from us. You know, I will leave that to you, to work on your astral powers, visit the extraterrestrial races, if you will, the extraterrestrial visitors, speak with them, see what they tell you, how they feel about you. But I want you to think about one thing. People ask me why they haven't landed on the White House lawn, why they haven't presented themselves to us if they are here. Why should they? Yeah. What do we have to offer? Have you ever considered that possibility? Have you ever considered that thought? What do we as humanity have to offer to an advanced civilization that have solved many of the problems we have today? You know, most of the universal beings I've met, they're not running a charity. They're not here to just help and to not ask anything in return. There has to be a mutual benefit. There has to be a mutual exchange of energy. So I will say, until humanity has something to offer to higher beings, to the higher worlds, to the more advanced societies, to the more advanced civilizations, we are not going to have open contact, because that would create more problems than it would solve. You can have open contact only when you're able to have meaningful exchange of energies. And we are not at that level yet. We are not. But I hope that steps like these, where together we try to uncover the truth, where we work on our abilities, share them on these amazing platforms like YouTube, where we can just share it with 1,000 people at the same time. I hope this will help distill a certain level of unified consciousness, where humanity will start to integrate more to create positive thoughts and value that we can then share with the visitors from other places. They are here, that's one is for sure. For sure, they've been here for a long time. And it goes all the way to the creation of humanity, you know. But these are topics for another day. These are topics for another day. Until then, really, my main message that I have for you is, do not wait for some magical way to save us, to solve all our problems and suddenly you are ascended on another level. It could be on some planets. I've seen it happen. That there was this huge wave, it came and it changed everything. Could be. I'm open to that possibility. But until that happens, nothing changes in the one universal rule. You have to keep getting better, more evolved, more knowledgeable, more open, more enlightened every single day. The only way to do that is to work on yourself. Yeah? Work on yourself, create value, share that value with everybody around you. Expose these fake teachers, these fake gurus that they're just wanting to sell more CDs. And many of them are deluded, they want to save the whole world. So expose them. The easiest way to do that, you catch them sometimes when they speak about things you understand. You know, many of these teachers, especially, I'm very good in technology. They speak about these higher worlds, then they start to speak about computers. Oh my God. They are very wrong. They don't even have basic knowledge. If they couldn't learn a thing or two about computers, how can I trust them that they understand the mechanics of quantum fields and higher dimensions, time and space? So I think that's what all this new age is about. The moving away from this so-called spiritual authority, is always looking to the next guru and asking them to look in at their interpretation of reality, and expanding more to be self-driven, self-spiritually enlightened. I just gave you the tools. It's up to you if you will use them. This is not a simple way to do it. It takes a lifelong practice to do it. But once you get to that level, oh my God, it's definitely worth it. Not to mention, you take some practical skill after you die, you find yourself immediately in the astral. It's very useful to have some skills already, so that you are not completely lost and you don't have to fight zombies. Yeah, even though that can be fun sometimes, fighting zombies. So yeah, I'm hopeful that this inspires a couple of people to take this opportunity that is being shown to them, work on your skills, see where our current spiritual authorities are failing us, share your experiences. I'm hoping also scientists will take this big, I would say, mounting evidence of experiences of people, some of them also caught on camera, like the videos from Pentagon. And I'm hoping they will start proposing some hypotheses that result into real scientific provable theories. We're still waiting for the unified theory of everything. Maybe this is what will happen once we go into the secrets of consciousness. And I'm hoping they will finally construct some theories based on which then we construct more technology that helps us get to an advanced level. And then we can offer, as unified humanity, some value to our brothers and sisters on other planets and other dimensions. And hopefully then they will accept us and we can finally have open contact. So, seems like time for this to end. It's much longer than I expected, to be honest. And I just want to wish you good health, good luck, and let me know what you think. If you like this, click like, click subscribe if you want to hear more questions answered. If you have any questions, put it in the comments. Let me know if you're interested in finding out more about what I have to say. But I definitely also hope that we can all advance together so that we can create a better world, not just for us, but for our children as well. Have a good health. Bye bye. This is Evel from the Czech Republic. And don't forget to say hi to all our friends in the Astral.